Okay, so around mid-May and slightly before then, I was rather politically involved. I felt that it was super important to try and make people aware of politics and precisely why the Conservative Party would be bad for people. A cursory look on my Twitter and personal Facebook would probably result in a political status or tweet, perhaps once every 2 days, if not daily. I understand that this can be a bit overwhelming and boring for people who just casually look at my posts, or just have me to stay in touch. It may also be surprising to people who do see the level of depth that I occasionally put into my politically oriented posts, that even though I take an interest in politics, I don't actually enjoy it, or even like it for that matter. I'm just aware of the fact that no matter how much you ignore politics, it always has an influence on you, with legislation, healthcare, and so on. Secondly, when I went to university I took philosophy, and during the course of my studies I became increasingly able to read long reams of information, very dense text, and analyse it to take down the bare bones of the text and actually make it into something readable. This is actually quite good because it means that when I make a decision that is political in nature or academic for that matter, it can safely be assumed that any conclusion I do reach has been critically assessed. I recognise that critical assessment is not infallible, but I think it's pretty accurate to use that and come out with a good decision. So I have academic training to question and assess information, argument structures and logic, which makes me pretty suited to critically analysing political theory and arguments, but this doesn't mean that I enjoy politics, it just happens that I'm good at working it out and researching it. Further, I really dislike most politicians. I hate the way that people in this position of power often abuse it, and I seriously hate those that use this power to enrich themselves or their friends. I hold the pomp and ceremony of Westminster-style politics in contempt and consider it a throwback to the 19th century, where the rich abused the poor in the most part and exploited them and all that bad stuff. So anyway, this basically means that I dislike the actual necessity of dealing with people who either do enjoy politics or regard these things as positive. So why would someone who has admitted that he actively dislikes politics and holds the traditions of politics in contempt actually take an active interest in politics? Because few people really do. Don't misunderstand me here, pretty much everyone does interact with political issues in some way, and during the general election apparently everyone became a pundit. But the vast majority of people only have a conception of politics on a personal, anecdotal or short-sighted basis. This means that most opinions on politics and issues are inevitably selfish, biased and incredibly underinformed. These people don't have the time or inclination to research political theory or policy. As a result, they seek the most convenient source of information that provides the most amount of information for the least effort and concentration, which unfortunately tends to be newspapers, political party broadcasts and leaflets. In the main, these are all terrible sources of information. Newspapers always have an agenda, and a political stance, especially tabloids that exploit sensationalism to sell more papers and encourage people to buy. Political broadcasts often provide a party-friendly distortion to facts when they provide facts at all. Often the line between fact and anecdote to support party ideology is blurred and therefore is likely worthless as facts from a tabloid. Even party manifestos are suspect. They're information-heavy, blocky walls of text filled with enough convoluted structure and meaning that would make even a chronic insomniac drowsy. Even I find them tough to read, and I've been trained specifically to digest this type of information and display it into some kind of readable format. An obvious answer to me here is that a lot of people know who they want to vote for because it's a family matter or because they've always done well when X party was in power, quote unquote, and any variation of that particular phrase. This is tribal politics and it's not good. When you follow a political party based only upon past action, you are failing to make an informed decision. This is kind of the reason why I'm interested in politics. It's because I feel that I can achieve some good by trying to educate people who are perhaps uninformed about their decision or are not knowledgeable enough to make a good one. It's always good to act in a way that helps others, even when the people that you try to inform take an attempt to change their view, which has the unfortunate effect of polarising views, making them harder to influence. I suppose there's also an element of pride. I'm able to read through unspeakably boring tracts of text and watch politicians array endless rhetoric, answer questions with non-answers, and harumph and grumble in a rather impolite and frankly idiotic fashion. For the most part, I can follow these and not fall asleep. Mostly. Other people find this difficult, and I really cannot blame them for it. However, I find myself in a unique position, and as such I feel responsible to at least try to warn them whenever I see something that is potentially very, very bad, but that they believe is good. Trust me, I don't make these posts or videos for fun, and I certainly don't get paid or expect to make a career out of this. Just remember that when you see me post something or talk about something, I'm doing it because I feel it's important to keep an eye on. I'm just going to round this video off now by saying that in the future, anything that I am going to do with politics will be made into a video on a separate playlist on my YouTube. I'll refrain from bitching about this on my Twitter, my YouTube related Facebook, or my personal Facebook. I try to at least help people understand political issues and encourage rational thought and discussion, but for the most part it either resulted in an echo chamber of similar thought, which doesn't matter because those people won't need to be influenced to consider their political view, or ended up being populated by people with ill-conceived views that I held so strongly that they became polarised towards me and refused to open their mind to the possibility of other methods of doing things. With the nature of social media, this just ends up encouraging similar people to appear and either accuse me of all sort of bias or make a statement of not changing their views, rather than introspectively considering the views that they hold and why they hold them in the first place. Dealing with this on a regular basis is frustrating, stressful, and exhausting, and I will just not be doing it anymore. With YouTube, it at least gives me the option of deeply explaining my view and encouraging critical, free thought on personal views. People may have the option of pausing the video and doing the equivalent of dropping a wet, steaming turd in my comment section, but I feel that this is easier for me to make a decent point. It certainly allows me to do more so than in Facebook, and certainly even more so in Twitter. So maybe you guys would ask, why not start a blog? Well, to be frank, few enough people really watch me on YouTube as it is, so I think starting a blog and diverting people's attention even more probably wouldn't help me. Anyway, that's pretty much it, you guys. If you made it this far, then I'm really grateful that you've watched it. I really am. I will be making a separate playlist for all of these videos in an attempt to keep my YouTube tidy and to stop political clutter from appearing and interfering with the general direction of my channel. However, I will make an exception where politics directly influences video games, which is, as a channel, I am oriented towards doing. And I would likely benefit from an analysis of. So that's it. My channel is mainstream about games, game issues, and philosophy, because I really need to put that degree to work somehow. Seriously though, if you have made it this far, then you're an absolute hero and you're the person that I make videos for. Feel free to drop a like if you like the video, and maybe make a comment as well if you have anything to add. I'd really like to chat to you and form a dialogue. You rule. I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.